A big fan of a singer will do a lot to feel close to him, even if it means giving up everything she has. Simone waits at the post office. When the postman comes, he shakes his head, and she leaves, feeling down. She sent a letter to the pop singer R 3 weeks ago, but he hasn't replied yet. She wonders if he didn't get her letter or if his jealous secretary threw it away after finding out Simone loves him more. Even though she's not sure, Simone keeps waiting for his reply because she feels like she'd betray her love if she stops. Instead of going to school, she spends the day imagining being with her idol. At the cathedral, she imagines taking R there. As she leans and pictures him kissing her, some tourists watch her, worried and thinking she might jump off the tower. Simone thinks about it too, if R doesn't write back, but she decides to write a goodbye letter to him first. If her body is found with it, he'd have to read her letter and remember her. When she gets home later, her parents look at her, worried and disappointed at how Simone's been acting differently. Because of this, she eats a little dinner and leaves quietly. Listening to R's newest album in her room, Simone wonders if he wrote every song for her because she connects with his lyrics. She believes he understands her, but fate keeps them apart. The next day, the postman brings a letter, but it's for her parents, not her. This makes her mad. She grabs the envelope and runs. Simone goes to school but can't stop thinking about R. She ignores her test and even leaves class to return to the post office. Thinking the postman is hiding her letter, she searches his bag frantically. When he stops her, she empties his bag, still looking for the letter, then pulls his hair in anger. That night in her room, Simone justifies her love, thinking only she truly understands R's songs. In her letter, she tells him she can make him happy, like he makes her feel. She asks him to write back or wink at her with his right eye at his next show, so she'll know he's thinking of her too. She knows R spends time with other women, but Simone thinks he's not truly happy with them because they're only interested in his money. She imagines he pays for their company before dismissing them to show what he really thinks of them. Days later, R is set to appear live at a show. This is his first appearance since she wrote to him, so Simone hopes he'll give her a sign. She watches the show with her parents, and her heart races when R appears. He sings a new song on TV, but Simone's father gets bored and changes the channel. She tries to take the remote, but he overpowers her and kicks her out. The next day, Simone takes a bus, wondering if R wrote back, but she thinks the postman or her mother is hiding his letter. Not sure if he gave her a sign the night before because her father changed the channel, she writes a new letter. On her way to mail it, a classmate follows her. Ignoring him, she drops off her letter, asking R to address it to her first name and write, "Come," to invite her. That way, no one will be sure if it's truly for her, and only Simone will know its meaning. After leaving the post office, her classmate catches up and asks her out again, but she refuses. Soon, R is overwhelmed. All letters for him go to his home, but there are too many, so his secretary tells the postman to throw them away. But this is just a nightmare for Simone. With still no reply from R, she decides to wait only one more week before taking action. From that day on, she goes to the post office every day hoping for a letter while neglecting her schoolwork. Her father threatens to send her to boarding school if she keeps it up, but Simone skips school and buys a magazine to find out where R will perform next. Her classmate tries to bond with her through music, offering her a cassette tape, but she rejects him again. After 6 days with no letter, Simone becomes withdrawn and packs a bag to run away. She ends up sleeping in an unlocked car in the park, but it becomes frightening when the owner finds her the next day, forcing her to leave. On the 7th day, still no letter, so she decides to leave town. She hitchhikes to the city where R will perform live, but the driver takes her to a secluded area and tries to harm her. Simone fights back and manages to escape. Thankfully, she arrives safely in the city and waits for R. For days, she wanders around, occasionally visiting the TV studio to see if her idol has arrived. When he finally does, dozens of fans swarm the studio for his autograph, making it hard for Simone to get close. Seeing him in person for the first time, she's overwhelmed and speechless. Finally, he notices her and approaches, wondering if she wants his autograph too. Unable to speak, Simone faints as he walks away, leaving her astonished. When Simone wakes up, she finds herself in R's dressing room. Her wish has come true as he holds her hand, seeming concerned for her well-being. But he needs to rehearse, so he ensures she's okay before taking her to the studio. R lets her sit on the sidelines while he practices for his show, which makes his secretary suspicious when she sees Simone there. The secretary voices her concerns to R, making Simone nervous. Thankfully, R just shrugs it off, and the secretary leaves. Simone watches her idol as he interacts with staff and signs autographs, yet he still finds time to sit beside her and keep her company. He encourages her not to be shy, even though they barely know each other. R suggests they can change that, making Simone smile. He then mentions his secretary's jealousy, so Simone confesses about the letters she wrote him, suspecting the secretary hid them. R acknowledges it's possible, but mentions it didn't prevent them from meeting in person. As their rehearsal ends, R invites Simone to lunch together. On their way, he starts asking about her, showing interest in getting to know her. However, his secretary interrupts, saying his manager wants to speak with him. With that, R gives Simone some money for lunch and asks her to wait for him at the cafe. Despite her excitement to be with her idol, Simone can barely eat. When R finally joins her, she hasn't touched much of her food, but she sits with him anyway. He says he needs to rest and takes her back to his dressing room. Alone there, he asks her to come closer. She hesitates, but obeys. He asks for a kiss, so Simone shyly pecks his cheek. Before anything else can happen, R is called for the show. He takes Simone to sit with the audience, letting her watch him perform live. She's completely captivated by his performance, even missing when the show ends. Afterward, R attends to his fans while ignoring his team's concerns about missed appointments. Simone joins them, and R brushes off his manager's questions about canceled interviews, saying he'll take some time off. He leaves with Simone, much to his co-workers' frustration. He takes her to a distant house, claiming it belongs to a friend who's out of the country, ensuring privacy. While R attends to business matters on the phone, Simone explores the house, admiring the art decorations. She then prepares herself mentally in the bathroom for what she expects will happen next. Waiting for R in the bedroom, he finally kisses her. They spend the night together, and Simone cherishes her first romantic encounter with her dream man. Afterward, R begins discussing business, acknowledging it might not have been fair for him to leave his team. Simone believes he can afford to do so given his success, but R gets dressed to return to them. Confused, Simone professes her love for him, hoping he won't leave. Still, he insists on going, promising to come back for her in a few months and allowing her to stay at the house. This realization shatters Simone, realizing she's been used like the other women R has dated. Heartbroken, she screams, grabs a statue nearby, and hits R on the head. She holds him as he takes his final breath. In mourning, Simone cherishes R's warmth for the last time before deciding to keep him close. Using an electric knife, she breaks him down into smaller parts, using the meat for her meals, and grinding the bones into ashes. After tidying the house that offered her privacy, Simone changes into spare clothes from R's car before leaving with a bag of ashes. Taking a train back to the city, she shaves her head to blend in unnoticed. At the TV studio, she scatters R's ashes where they first met. Returning home, her parents welcome her back with concern. Without explanation, she promises to return to school. That evening, the news reports R missing, with his team thinking he's on vacation but without contact. In Simone's mind, she vows never to betray R. With her period 4 weeks late, R remains a part of her. She writes a final letter to him, pledging to love and cherish their time together. Convinced R loved her, she remains loyal despite his absence.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.